this is the helmet. It's had its 4 layers of silicone rubber. That's the white. The pink stuff is thixo with the silicone rubber. That is obviously him with a mohawk. I put it in the phone that don't have no mohawk. But that's the parting, obviously, when I make the mother mold, or the casket as I call it, because it holds everything together inside a tight casing. I'm going to fiberglass, or I may go to plaster of Paris, a thick plaster of Paris, and put that on it. I don't know yet. I mean, fiberglass is quite expensive. Plaster of Paris is very cheap, but I hate mixing that stuff up. It takes too long to dry, it cracks. I mean, I was trying to look for plasti putty. A lot of people have been telling me about that. What is a plastic resin that you paste over it? Like, it's similar to epoxy, but it's really thick. And you put that over the top of it, and it makes a really nice finish on it. Obviously, as you can see, quite. So that's it so far. You would just keep armors down. My space is actually clear at the moment. A Blu-ray laser cutter. So I took apart a broken PS3 laser lens that I had, and took it all apart. And this here is the focusing servo. If I actually show you, I can cover this up. It is extremely strong. I mean, I was looking through it at one of my pieces of a screwdriver, and I didn't actually notice that I'd used it for doing some soldering. Screw down a piece and solder it down, and I hadn't noticed that I had got a tiny dab of solder actually in one of the things, and I looked through this and I could see it. It was absolutely amazing. But no, I've got the diode as well. What is this little tiny thing there? If I turn it around, you'll see there's 5 pins. Top one's ground. The one over this side is the red diode, and the one over on this side, if I can get it in the camera, that side is the blue diode. Two at the bottom are the cathodes. Essentially, if you wanted to wire up, you'd have the negative wire on the top, and if you wanted a red laser, you'd have it on this side, or if you wanted a blue laser, you'd have it on this side. Now, when I tested it for the blue laser wasn't working. Only the red laser. What I thought may be the case, that's why it wasn't green seeds. But who cares? Doesn't really matter. I'm just probably going to buy a diode. I don't know how to turn this into a cutting one. I don't know how if it's a lens that you need to get that will obviously end up the power of this. I just attached it to a 4.5 volt array of batteries, button batteries, and attached it to that. It just seems to work pretty well. I was thinking of actually rigging it up through that to see if it would cut through anything, but I'll find out later on. It's quite good. Well, one of my friends does a lot of robotics, so she said she would design me kind of like a stepper. I was going to strip apart some scanners or some old printers for the stepper motors, take them out and put them onto a table, and then obviously attach the laser onto the top of it and get her to write me a form of code that can read drawings. Essentially, I draw a lot with paint. There is a program that has been written where it will find the distance between a space where it has been drawn and where it hasn't, and then it will use that to actually fire. Well, usually it's with a CNC router, and it will actually cut out. But obviously, that's a bit too technical. I wanted a laser so I could burn into Depron or etch onto wood where I could just stick a pen onto it, and it would actually draw it out on a piece of wood or a piece of foam that I could cut up, and then when I've cut it up, I can obviously then build off of it with Bondo and car body colours and primers and so on and so forth, and turn it into whatever I was needing to. I also got my Predator bio in. I thought it looks pretty cool. It fits me at treat. I haven't put any clips in at the moment, but it looks pretty good. I also got a Terminator T800 skull. It's a full bust skull. So essentially it's got that, and it's also got the neck pieces. The neck pieces aren't finished. need to recut them or reheat them and try to get them to shrink a little bit because they're far too big. They're a bit out of proportion. I've got my giant Ironman helmet. That I say giant because it is absolutely massive. I think it was a cast for, I don't know, maybe one of the big statues that you get for the premieres, but it is absolutely massive. So I want to kind of pop to one side, but I'll prime that and I'll take a cast like I've done with my one, and then hopefully I can post a video after that, and we'll see how that one goes. At the moment, I've finally employed someone for doing my Pepper models. I don't have enough time anymore to kind of come home and spend hours and hours and hours building the models up. If I did have the time, I would do it myself, but essentially I just don't have the time anymore. I'm working quite late now. I work till 6. When it comes up to about Christmas time, I'll be working up until about 7:30. Yeah, it takes up a lot of time trying to do all this stuff. I did get custom made candy paint that's came in, what is pretty good. Pretty proud of how much I paid for it, because I only paid 19 quid, and it was customly made up to a specific chart that I had looked at, and it came out extremely good. I've already got the gold metallic paint, or this just normal paint to buy. It's a metallic heating paint. Essentially, the best way to get an effect of the gold underneath is to prime it with a silver. So when I've done that, I'll prime it silver. The rotocast stuff that I'm going to be getting is Easy Flow 120. I'll also be making another video later on of my ODST armor. It should be finished pretty soon. The helmets will be getting recasted, they'll be painted. I'm also devising a helmet opening system for the faceplate to open and close. Obviously, what I basically want to run it up to is a full suit of armor. So essentially, I'm going to have 2 servos on either side in the earlobes so that they don't catch your face. 2 really thin pieces of 0.5 steel, or I might change it down to aluminium. I'm thinking steel because I like steel, it's very easy to work with. And there's also, I can probably try and do some welding on it. It's much easier to do some small welding. But anyway, the hinge system just kind of sits. It doesn't even sit on your face. The space that you've got in your helmet actually gives you quite about a finger's length on each side, near the cheekbones and the eyes, from there to there. I've tried padding it out to see as to how much space I can get away with. I've also put in sheets of metal, and the 0.5 grade that I get, what are scrap pieces of metal, fit perfectly. I can bend them into shape. So essentially what it means is, obviously you've got bigger cheekbones than what I have, you can just bend the actual mechanism out, so on both sides, so that obviously when it lifts up it doesn't catch anything. What I thought was a pretty neat thing to add into it. But at the moment it's on a pot, what is meant to be like a 5x5 servo controller. A lot of people are using Arduino, but it's too expensive to buy Arduino. Essentially I want to build my own board that I can fit in the back, or even have it put onto a sheet, thin sheet, so I can have a flexible board. I'll get custom made so that it will fit in the back, have all the components fitted on it. But it's flexible, so it means that it won't take up a lot of space. I'm also looking into the eyes, will be for sale later on. I'll also be holding a competition when I've casted them, so I'll tell you more about the competition that will be coming up as well. After I've done the first 5 casts of that one, I will be giving away 3 of them. So if you're interested in that, if you just keep an eye, if you subscribe, I'll also have a video later on of that. You can all find out. So you can all find out how to enter and obviously have your time in the sun trying to win. Thanks for watching. See you later. I put it in the food that don't have no more heart.